Okay. All right. All right. Welcome everyone to this female influencer fireside chat without fire for safety reasons, but I know all these women are on fire, so it's still a good fit. For me, it's the second season of doing this. My name is Malin Lidén. I lead strategic programs in marketing for Americas and APJ. And I started this last year when I was leading community teams. And it's interesting when I start talking about this concept, people always ask, so is this a diversity panel? And I say, no, it's actually a tech influencer panel. And then the next question comes, so why are there only women on this panel? And then my answer is because people like you are asking that question. So just to set the stage, we are here today to talk tech. Diversity is not off limits in any way, but these are, we have here an amazing lineup of rock star women. And I'd just like to ask every one of them to just say a few words about themselves so that you know who it is that you have the pleasure of hearing from today. So Alison, do you want to start?
Hi everyone, my name is Alison Biggin and I lead product and field marketing for SAP.
Hi everybody, my name is Sindhu Gangadharan and I head up the topic of integration in the office of the CTO, and I also head up the program for the Intelligent Enterprise.
Hello everyone, I'm Cheryl Parsons. I'm the CMO for ASUG. We're the largest user group.
Hi, my name is Jana Richter and I'm the Head of Product Management for SAP Cloud Platform Core.
Hi, I'm Heather Sinkwitz and I'm the BI Manager for Mobile Mini, speaker, author, and SAP Mentor.
Hi, and my name is Katharina Schell and I'm a Development Manager in the SAP HANA Core development team.
Very good. So after we have established that we're going to talk about technology, I thought let's jump into it and start with the announcements. Because I always find when I go to TechEd, it's so much to digest. We always feel like we have one after the other lined up. And I'm going to start with the biggest tongue breaker for me, which is Kubernetes as a service. I practiced all day to say that. And here it's really about, more in plain English, openness, right? And I'm looking at you, Sindhu, because we saw Bernd talking a lot about openness, about the importance of not just really walking the talk and opening up our API. So we're not just talking about openness, we're actually doing it, I think, in a pretty proactive way. So what does that mean for customers? What is the opportunity here?
I think in the keynote there was quite some aspects around openness. You talked about Kubernetes and how we support open source and how we embrace open source. But I think the other piece that Bernd also talked about quite a bit was opening up our own applications, the APIs from our applications being published on the API Business Hub. I think you saw some absolutely cool demos. Jana, you showed some of them where she was just going into events from S4 published on the API Hub, using that, using the function as a service capabilities. I mean, for customers, this is massive, right? Think about it. Our applications are now exposed. The APIs from S4 across our cloud solutions are made available on the API Hub. You can find thousands of them, all following the Open APIs specification, which means anybody of you can go in there, extend the application, so you don't need to stay in the context of your applications, but extend it, innovate, build new apps. So the possibilities are immense. The possibilities for partners are even more immense if you think about it. We talked about a lot of applications being built, made available on the App Center. So these are all fantastic opportunities when you think about openness. Jana, you want to comment?
Yeah, and maybe to add to the topic of Kubernetes. So for us, Kubernetes is one of the enabling technologies to really bring a variety of services to the cloud and to scale there elastically, right? So we are internally adapting Kubernetes as the container technology to bring even services like a data hub or HANA data management suite to the cloud and to be able to really scale that elastically for load and to allow them to spin up a lot of new instances based on the customer demand. And we're not just taking over Kubernetes the way it is, but we are really an active sponsor of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And we contribute projects like Gardener, which allows companies to really manage clusters at scale.
you mentioned Data Hub, and from an analytics perspective and a customer perspective, that's huge for us who are always trying to overcome some of those data challenges, and that being one of those blockers to really being able to deliver the value to our customers. So I'm really excited about that and what that's going to be able to provide for us. And that was a big announcement last TechEd, and to just see how far it's come so far, that was really exciting for me as a takeaway from today.
Maybe I'll just comment a little more on the Data Hub piece. So we did announce it last year. And look, I think we have tons of conversations about data and how much there is and all those things, but what the Data Hub brings here really is the opportunity to orchestrate and govern your data without moving it, right? And it doesn't just have to be your SAP data, right? It's data from anywhere. It can be other applications, it can be external data. And I think, and I know that Franz and the team, and we really, really think this is game-changing technology that's going to change how customers access and use their data strategically.
Thank you. And so, coming back to the demo, we have the demo queen here for the second year. Really nice job. And I think for me, what was great about the demo is it illustrated what is the intelligent enterprise, because everyone has their view on what is it, and you have your assumption. But this made it very real, all of the aspects that come together, what you can do with intelligent enterprise. But obviously the demo was about the car, it was really cool, he tweeted, and then you can connect it to all these other processes. And I was thinking it could be interesting to hear your views here on other scenarios that you see intelligent enterprise at work, if you will, to also help the people who are listening to imagine what's possible in the future.
So I'll be very short. If you haven't gone to the Adidas showcase, you should go, and that will give you one great example of it right here on the show floor.
Yeah, I think there are absolutely fantastic examples. I can just relate back to the work that I do back at SAP. We are looking at 4 scenarios today. So lead to cash, a total workforce, source to pay, and design to operate. So these are end-to-end, extremely complex processes which relate totally to customers, and many of them pretty much applicable to customers in any industry. Like total workforce is applicable to any industry because everybody needs to manage their workforce. And it's not just about managing your workforce in terms of employees, but it's also how do you embrace your contingent, how do you make sure that you take care of forecasting, budget planning, which brings in success factors, field glass, as well as S4. So bringing it all together, bringing in the intelligent technologies in the core of our applications, but also across our applications, making sure that the data that is shared across these applications gives us new insights that allow us to take much more concrete decisions and much more action-based based on the insights that you get from the data, right? So these are great examples of what the intelligent enterprise can mean for customers.
So I'm going to take this to a different level and talk about it from a business perspective, right? So what I heard today as a CMO is that you have the data layer and the ability to take that data and actually satisfy the customer. So at the end of the day, it's really understanding what that business need is from your business partners, and it now sounds like we have open sources, we have everything else that can actually deliver the end user what they really want, which is what you showed, painting the car, etc. And it can go all the way to your social, everything gets integrated, and it makes the customer at the end of the day very happy, which is why we're in business.
And maybe to add from my point, to what Sindhu said, there's common processes in every company, like the total workforce. But one thing that is common as well, and that we try to illustrate with the demos, is that most likely you will have certain parts where you want to deviate from the standard and where you differentiate with your business what SAP hasn't thought of and is not going to put into the standards. And with Cloud Platform, we then give the means to react on events from the systems and to really write extensions where you can plug in with your own coding in a very efficient and quick way to achieve your goals and to really differentiate from the standard where you need to, right? For all the rest, of course, you take the well-integrated standard, but then both on the data side as well as on the development side, you want to have certain pieces where you get the additional insight and the additional option to do something custom yourself.
We're all going down on this one. So, I back on the Data Hub perspective, but from my perspective, one of the use cases you mentioned was lead to cash. Oh, that one, for example, comes from many different data sources. And to be able to marry together the semantic across platforms, which oftentimes people forget about, might be called this here, this here, this here, but they semantically mean the same thing in this use case. And being able to do that in a platform that is agile and quickly and easily create that without having to go through the cumbersome processes that we've had to do in the past. That's pretty game changing. So that's the area that I'm pretty excited about.
Okay, now I'm figuring out training at the end. It's not the best, but maybe really the use case which you showed really at the keynote, this was already pretty good, and I think you can really consider it in different ways, not only via Twitter, getting there the information, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media you have there, and really serve then the customer. And I think this is what you already see today. When I'm on Instagram, I always got advertisement that really pretty much fits to that what I'm searching, and it's pretty good. Of course, with a car, it's quite expensive then what I get there, but nevertheless, it's still, and that's what we also mentioned in the beforehand in the briefing, it's also frightening somehow. So the information will be gathered everywhere. I mean, we are aware of that, of course. This is when we enter at Twitter or somewhere else, always there are the information, but we still do it, and that is maybe also what will also bring in the future with all the data. So of course you have the good, all this advertisement, and the customer can really use it, but it's also has also its downside, of course.
But maybe to add to the data aspect, right? I mean, you heard about SAP, Microsoft, and Adobe signing up the Open Data Initiative, right? And this is all about consent-based access to data, which is exactly going into the point that you made. So.
Great. So I know I said this is a technology panel, but let's talk about people for a moment, because I think Bant also closed with a really, really nice message around diversity and inclusion, but also thinking about digital transformation. It happens, of course, with technology, but it doesn't happen without people. And there is a big upskilling component in that to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind, that we do take everyone along on the journey to make sure that we can make it happen. So I thought it would be interesting to hear from you what you're seeing in the organization, what is done, and just maybe while you're thinking about what examples to bring. For me, it was an eye-opener. I went to a couple of sessions today from SAP IT, and I saw some of the things that they are doing, and I'm at SAP, I've been at SAP for a long time. I didn't know all of those things. There was an initiative called Data Hero, so if you're at SAP, you should do the same thing as I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to find myself a digital hero, it is. And that's actually a community of people to help employees within SAP understand what we have and how to use it. And I thought that was a really brilliant way to both build a community to support each other, but also help with digital readiness. So are you seeing things in your organizations or in organizations that you work with to help achieve that, to bring people along? Who wants to?
I think we all are hearing the stats about, 70% of the buying journey is now done digitally before your customer ever talks to a salesperson, right? Or talks to you directly. And so fundamentally, that's not just that customers are doing things differently. It means that we have to be in the places where customers are doing that digital engagement. And so from a skills perspective, and I'm in marketing, and we talk about this a lot, we have to make sure that the teams that have been doing marketing for 10, 15, 20 years are learning not only the new digital skills, but what content is relevant, how to reach the audience, and how to target the messages. And I think the upskilling and the reskilling is a constant thing. And as fast as we can get people sort of up to speed on the new things, there's something else new, right? So I think from an organization perspective, even if you're not in marketing, you have to be thinking about that point of engagement with your customers and how important it is to be able to do that in a digital and low-touch way.
Maybe to add to what you said, sometimes digital transformation is you don't have a concrete destination, right? So it's a journey that you take as a company, and where you also need to give people the bandwidth, the capacity to explore. So it's a cultural change as well. which sometimes is ignored a bit because people usually have goals and you need to get to that goals, but digital transformation is about coming up with new business models, understanding the data and kind of understanding, okay, so if a customer bought something, it doesn't have to always relate to buying, right? But in general, it's really about a different culture and different kind of mindset that a company needs to embrace to be able to identify those kind of journeys. I think that's important too.
So I'll add to that, as far as journeys are concerned, I think we have to remember a journey is not linear. So everybody's journey is different, and where you are in your career or where you are in your business or wherever you are is going to be different for everybody. So I think it's important to make sure that you have different ways to reach those people, and people learn differently. Some people, we have a community, people love face-to-face, that's great like we are here. Other people have to be online. At ASUG, we're definitely seeing that from the voice of our customers, is that it's really important to have all different types of diversity in that journey. And remember, it is not linear, and so you have to be everywhere they are.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say with the change to cloud products as well, at least in product management, I can say the job changed a lot. And meanwhile, we have a lot more channels, a lot more change, a lot more internal stakeholders, customers, partners of various types. And at least for me, it's quite cool to have a heterogeneous team, right? A team with totally different strengths, because not one person can serve all those channels and all those needs anyways, right? So it's pretty cool to have very different people that like partners, that like customers, that probably don't like going externally, but internally want to work with stakeholders, that love creating open SAP courses, that love writing blogs, because there's so many different channels and different needs to do, so that a diverse group even helps to achieve those diverse goals. Because with a homogeneous group, I would just channel one channel and one product communication way, but wouldn't achieve everything.
You guys are covering it pretty good over there. But I do, with any change, there's a lot of opportunity for training and development, and so I think that's huge. But with that, it's hard to continue to learn new things and to have that mindset. So having those campaigns internally is important too, not just marketing externally, but internally too. So yeah, it's definitely a huge component.
I mean, for example, for me, it's also always challenging. I have two development teams, and of course also in the complete HANA area. First you were on-prem, and as you said, now the complete cloud move. You also have to somehow also give this developer what means cloud, what we have to do there, what can you do there, what you can do not there. So you need do's and don'ts as well, and they have to learn everything new and all the new features. So you have to do a lot there, of course. And besides, anyway, they already have a lot to do on their every day. You have to put this as well. So, and in SAP, of course, we have a lot of learnings, like our internal TechEd we have there. And since they do not have the opportunity to go here where you see all the new features, but with our DevX and DCOM we have there, you learn all these new opportunities. And yeah, it's a challenge, but we can do it.
That's why tech careers are so fun.
And Katarina will get a special prize for always going last. It's actually she gets the last word. Look at it from the bright side. That's it. All right. So we're coming towards the close of the session, but I also wanted to ask you about your highlights, because one of the challenges with a conference like this, it can be pretty overwhelming. There is so much content, so much to do, and in fact, at some point when I was working for the office of the CMO, we calculated how much time would a person need in order to consume all the content at a Sapphire, I think it was. I forgot the number. It was gigantic. You would have to spend half of your life in order to consume all the content, and since nobody can do that, also because it happens in parallel. This is also the purpose of this panel, to tap into the knowledge and the inside information of all of you, because you've been out and about, you've been, based on your backgrounds and interests, you've been exploring different things. So what was your highlight from today, and what would you say should people absolutely not miss tomorrow when they are planning their day? Let's have Katarina go first.
Thank you. So of course my first highlight was that I this morning had my own session, and I always love to have the session and to talk together with the developers and sharing their or getting their experience. So this was definitely my highlight. But nevertheless, what I did, I walked around at the SAP experience area, and there I had the SAP Leonardo there with the IoT thing where they did the trust rental car, and this was pretty impressive because they really, it's always hard if they show you, okay, this is the data, what we can do with it, and you said, okay, great, but they really have there a demo. You have a ball with a chip in it, and then you have to really try to navigate your ball through through a labyrinth or a parkour with an app, and then they measure what kind of driver you are. And in my case, unfortunately, it was a risky driver with a lot of accidents. And but it was impressive. So the rental company then can really use this data and can figure out maybe in the next time also what kind of car they will give you. Maybe not a fast car anymore, or another one, and not an expensive one. But if you also think a little bit more, it's also maybe, at least then for me, since I'm a risky driver, it is really like if you also have it for a car insurance or something like this, if they're also using this data to check how you're driving, if you're really more risky one or not. So this was pretty impressive. So I really would propose go to this area. There are a lot of many other demos you can see there.
So one of my key highlights is always the community and getting to know people, their stories, use cases, how they're leveraging the tools, and being able to have those kinds of conversations, because there's nowhere else where you can really do that in such a short period of time. So that's always my favorite part. Although I do love all the sessions and such too, I can't consume it all. So I always do the download the presentations I can't get to. And the other thing is if I get onto a hot topic, I love going over to SAP Experience, because those guys are so real and down to earth, and they will just answer anything for you. So I really enjoyed doing that today, and I'll probably be over there again tomorrow. So I recommend that.
Yeah, my personal adrenaline highlight, I would say, was of course the keynote today. What I want to do tomorrow, and I hope a lot of you already did today, or maybe will do the next couple of days, is to go to the app space, which is pretty nearby, and just try out a couple of tutorials in a few minutes and go through codings and sample codings and sample tutorials to just get an idea, if you don't have the 2 hours for hands-on, to just go there in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, do a couple of those exercises.
So I love what I do, so where am I going to tell you to go but the ASUG Hub? Where you can connect with others, you can learn, and you can network. So please come and visit us over there, and we can connect you to others like you, wherever you are in your journey.
Yeah, my highlight was definitely the keynote too. It was really good. And also the whole area around the intelligent enterprise. I mean, you can get pretty deep insights on the intelligence suite, the technologies, as well as the digital platforms. So make sure that you spend some time there so that you get an idea of all these pieces. And make sure that you attend my strategy talk on integration for the intelligent enterprise. It's at 10:30 tomorrow morning.
So my highlight was actually pre-show, and that was last night when we were doing a show floor tour with Bernd Leukert, and he kept stopping and doing all the demos, right? Whether it was the foosball or the car driving thing or whatever it was. So we definitely knew that we had a good set of demos, or whatever we're calling them, showcases, because Bernd was involved and doing all of them. So that was great. So definitely would encourage people to go back there and really put your hands on some of the technology and try the cool things. And then the other thing I would say is the strategy talks and the lightning talk. So for reference, the strategy talks tend to be a little bit more portfolio in nature. They cover a bigger topic, HANA Data Management Suite, Intelligent Enterprise. And then the lightning talks tend to be pretty product specific, so Data Hub, etc. So I think it's a good balance of both end-to-end information as well as product specific. So I would encourage people to go cover those where your schedule allows.
There you go. Great. And so my highlight is always to close out the day with this group. So another shameless plug, don't miss it tomorrow. There will be a slightly different constellation of people, but no less interesting. For me, it's just fantastic to have all of you here share your experience. And I want to also close by thanking you for not just doing this session, but also being role models for other women. Because part of doing this initiative is to show that there are careers in technology that is interesting for women, and that we already have women who are working in this role, not just here, but also in the audience. I see quite a few women in technology here. And I think that is important, and it's an important message to send. So I want to thank you for doing that. And with that, I would like to close the session and hope to see many of you again tomorrow.